Hey everybody, Adam Savage in my cave, and we're going to talk about shop organization, which is one of my favorite subjects on this channel. And Savage Industries has just put out a second batch of the orange Sortimo cases that are custom branded with my logo. Let's see, wait, I got a blank one here. Yeah, you can see it here. Savage Industries, look at that beautiful thing. So I worked with Sortimo over the last few years. A couple of years ago, we bought 1,000 of these from them in my favorite color, orange. And y'all bought a bunch. Obviously, I kept a bunch. This is actually my profit margin from the first run. This was my take home. We just got in another 1,000, or slightly less than that, but you know, give or take. And they're available to you. Now, I don't think we've done this before. I've talked about it a few times on the channel in different modalities, but I don't think I've ever walked you through the process by which I figure out where everything is in all, how many is it now? 13, 26, 39, 52, 65, 66, 77, 68, 69, 70, 71, 70, 72 some odd Sortimos here. How am I going to find everything that's in all the multiple compartments of each one? Well, I do it by making a list. Oh, right. So the thing I wanted to say is the method I'm about to use for this can work with any sorting modality you may possess, from paper cups to cardboard trays, to custom foam core glue, hot glue boxes, to, you know, these guys that, you know, you can get from the hardware store kind of thing. No matter what your modality is, the procedure I'm about to walk you through will work for you. And really specifically, if you end up implementing this procedure, I would love to see how it works in your cave, in your shop, in your studio. So I think I even did the math that there is well more than like 500,000 objects in these 72 cases. It's not a stretch to go there. Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of stuff in here, and it's in a lot of categories. It's in this many categories. Yeah, it gets a little dirty after a few years in the shop. This is an old list, but it needs redoing because I've done a bunch of rejiggering of these over the past few months, and I've added some. I added costume jewelry, a 5-stack just of costume jewelry and that kind of funness. What you'll notice about that list is that it is in alphabetical order. And that's what makes it super findable is I search for anything. Corks. Do I need rubber corks? They're both under CO for corks. There it is. Corks, rubber. But it's also under R for rubber corks. Where is it? Rubber corks. There we go. There's rubber corks. So it involves making a list. And we're going to make it in Excel. But before we even get to making that list, we are going to go through and we're going to photograph. This is where this project begins. We're going to photograph all 72 of these. And I'm going to put the number of the box in its position because these numbers here, they no longer correspond to the location of the box as I have. Boop, 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 boop. However, these easily pop out so I can replace these. But, you know, that's a later step once I figure out that I've got everything exactly where I want it. Okay, so the first thing that I do is I'll take out my camera and take 72 photos with a digit next to each one so that I can load these up, print them out. That's key. And we'll reconvene once I have a stack of 72 printed out pictures of what is in each of these cases. Oh, wait, maybe even it's more than 74 because I should do these cases too. I should do what's in these. Look at it. Oh, we got wall anchors, we got self-tapping screws, we got shoulder bolts, we got all sorts of extra stuff. All of that's 4 different alphabet categories. So, here we go. So I now have pictures of all 72, actually 69 specifically, because I have 3 empty ones for baby fat. Nice. You might not want to start organizing because you don't feel like the organization is organized. Like, there are some parts here. Like, I got wall anchors in these blue things and drywall screws over in number 14. I'm not going to worry about getting them together because my brain has mapped them where they currently are. But the system I'm about to show you is quite reconfigurable if you want to move drawers around later. It is quite reconfigurable, and I'll show you how. But like, the biggest issue with organization is knowing where the smallest numbers of the things are. Like, if you only have 4 of a certain kind of brush, where do you store those among all the brushes if you have a whole bunch, right? This list is a way to find the smallest item in your collection among all the hundreds of thousands of pieces that there are in, a mature tool shop. So I'm really hoping that this is a cross-compatible technique that you can take to your sorting system, which might be Dixie cups in cardboard trays. Like that can work absolutely perfectly. But now, I'm going to go home, I'm going to print everything, and have a nice, chilling, relaxing Sunday night. And when I come in tomorrow, I should have a good portion of this list done, and we'll finish it up in Excel so you can see how it works. But that was only 72 Sortimo cases. I was able to document them all with a number in the middle, which is really clutch. You got to keep track of your digital files with visual cues in them. But that whole thing of taking all those photos, 30 minutes. Loading them into my computer and printing them out, another 10 or 15 minutes. I mean, I'll pay for a lot of toner, but that's fine. Yeah. Okay. I love organizing. I love the way it feels in the middle of it. Boy, do I love the way it feels at the end of it. Okay, so it's the next day. I have made a marvelous printout of every one of these drawers. We'll include a link so you can look at these photos. It finally feels weirdly intimate to show you the contents of my drawers. I hadn't thought of that pun yet. But so here's what I've done is, okay, there's a couple of major questions when you are sorting many categories of things. And one of them is that when you have many categories of things, it's very easy to end up with redundancy, i.e. 2 bins that hold similar objects that are distant. And that, you want to eliminate that. I personally want to eliminate that as much as possible. I don't want that. And so as I'm going through this, I'm making some little notes like, hey, the wire grommets should go with the strain relief. And that's joining some parts from bin 11 and 40 together. Oh, hey, the machine handles and the thumb screws, number 60 and number 37, 38, 36, something like that, should also be together. And I will remedy those. But there's also bins that have like lots of extra storage space in them. There's funny bins where like tiny screws is like I'm using barely any Sortimos sorters in that bin. We can cut to a shot of this because it's all in their own containers and I don't need to move it into new containers to make it more difficult to access. But, there are times when if I'm going to be joining, let's say, thumb screws and machine hand wheels, do I have enough space? So I have always been sort of a little flummoxed by how to, look, this is a great way to get most of this in my head, but it's still a lot of information to get into my head. So I'm about to now do a cull of a bunch of these containers that I don't need to think about. Okay, and here's the trick. The trick is that like this bin, this top bin number 1 is all rivets. It's done. There's no more rivets in the world that can fit in here in my life. If I'm going to expand, I'm going to expand to a whole other container of rivets. So I believe I can fly. I can retire this, not retire it, but I can put it over in the pile of don't even need to think about if there's extra room in there. But on the other front, upholstery tacks, look at all this real estate. So I can put down in there, I've got 22 extra squares in upholstery tacks. So I think I'm going to start to label these in the corners as well. Yeah, I'm gonna. You don't need to see the over shoulder. I'll get a good. That's also metric. Okay, take a look at number 18. Bearings, no. 19, 20. Okay. Offer in order. Strain relief. So one thing I determined is that strain relief is a category I have in 2 or 3 different bins that could all come together. So we're going to do that. I've got an empty one here. Now these are wire grommets. And these are meant to slip through a hole. You want to have some abrasion relief. And abrasion relief and strain relief are not too distant. Now we know O-rings has a bunch of extra space in it. Right, this is also strain relief. Okay, so let's see here. This is, this is the kind of strain relief for a plug that comes out of a thing. This is for, these are all strain reliefs for wire. So we are going to put those together. And I've got one more thing here, which is like wall strain relief, right? Which is like these guys and these guys, right? So everything for managing wires and helping them do their job better is what I've got here. So there we go. Strain relief. This one is going to be number 13. Okay, so that's right. This is wiring. 40, 41. So I want to redo 11, 40, 41, and 13. Those two. I'm still separating these out. Oh, yeah, okay. So, 20, 41. Yeah, see? I think I can, it might be 42. Okay, I think I'm gonna do some things here. Ah, 72 has extras. We're going to go through and look for the extras in a minute. 72, securability. Okay, so I recognize that was a wee bit chaotic, but really what that whole exercise was about doing was figuring out how to look for confluences of objects and spaces that they can fit together by eliminating the drawers that are done. I submit that when you are making a sorting hierarchy in your shop, as I am, that some of your stuff is like, oh yeah, the thing I use all the time, quarter 20 bolts, those are all just going to be in that drawer, and that drawer is just for those. And those sorters are really lovely. But I collect a lot of disparate objects from all over, and overlapping those. So in the end, it's about half of my bins have a little extra space that I can go find and utilize and maybe bring together. See, like see the card trim rivets on number 4, that belongs near the other rivets. I think that's perfectly fine. So I'm gonna walk through this right now, just bin by bin by bin, to make sure I like the order and the numbering. Oh, right, I have to reverse these two. That's the one thing I have to do. These have to go on top of that, but that'll just take a second. Great. Okay, so everything is now where it wants to be. I now have these laid out in the order I want them laid out, which is to say I have moved the various bits and bobs around until they make some intuitive sense. Obviously, you want the mapping to make some intuitive sense. For instance, this is almost entirely electronics, and the bottom 4 are all thread repair. I know that by heart. This one is all nuts and bolts down here, going all the way down to tiny screws and hinges and buckles. I know buckles doesn't really belong there, but yeah, it's got to go somewhere. So now the trick is to make the list. The list. We've done all of this so that we can... This is when you can't start your list. I can't start my list until I know that everything here is where I want it to be. Now that is the case. That took me a total of about 6 hours. And look, you know, I want to say, I'm printing these out in color paper. This is using, like, I don't know, some dough for the toner for printing these. That is part of the cost of business. You can also do this in a different way. You can set up a couple of monitors and set up these on one monitor and set up your list on another one. There's a million ways to skin this cat. I really like printing out paper copies for making lists and making assessments of things. Paper copies, I don't know, it's easier for me to hold the visual information if I have a physical representation of it. So now it's time to make a list. And we're going to make a list similar to this, but where all the box locations and all the alphabets are correct. We're going to use the previous list as a sort of a starting point, but we are going to make sure that everything that says it's where it is in a box is where it's supposed to be. So I'm in the last stage of organization, and I have, to recap, I've taken pictures of all 76 drawers. I have my sorting, what do you call this? My shop battery. That's what this is. It's my shop battery. It is the storage of all the things, of one of the shop batteries of useful items. So I took a picture of all 76 of them, figured out where some things wanted to cross-pollinate and move around. I moved around approximately 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 of these and made 2 brand new ones. So I affected 11. I took 11 new photos, incorporated them into here. Don't worry. We will share with you some of the key links of some of the fun stuff in here. But I'd also, we're going to make sure these are available so you can scroll through them. And I'd love to know some stuff that I don't know about. There might be aspects of the Coleco system that are brand new that have come up in the last few years. There could be some type of strain relief grommet I don't know anything about. So right now what I'm doing is I am just going through each drawing, and I've got a list here of what's in it, and I'm making an Excel spreadsheet. Any cell-based entry system, you're not using any of the big bells and whistles of Excel here. You are literally making a column. So I just have one row for each item in each bin. So in bin number 14, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items in here in row 14. when I'm all done with this, I'm going to have however many rows. It's going to be somewhere around 200, 220 separate categories of items that need to be searched for. Not 220 categories, just 220 categories to search under. And then what I'll do, and I've made the list like rubber corks, but also corks, comma, rubber. And after I print this list, there will be a period of like 2 months where there are things I hadn't thought of that I need to search for, that I have to put in a new search term. So I end up remaking the list about a month after I make it. But right now we're just making the first pass of the list. It's just bin number, all the items within it, each with their own row. And then later on, all the things get sorted by the row names, by the actual objects in them. So grommets, leather, leather, grommets, that kind of thing. Can't even tell you how awesome it is. And again, this will work if you buy a whole bunch of Sortimos, but also if all you have are old beer case trays filled with Dixie cups. This will also work for that. I'm curious. I think we'll show you some of the other drawers, right? Because like, okay, let me just talk philosophically about storing stuff for a shop. Like all of the 76 Sortimos, they only serve to store hardware smaller than the bread and butter hardware of the cave, which is a 1/4 20. For the rest of the world, this is your 6mm, your bread and butter, tried and true. Use it for everything. Easy to find, easy to get, easy to manipulate. But like, I went through 2 iterations of my nut and bolt sorter, and the first one was double-sided, and it was absolutely useless. It sat here for years. I think my old assistant took it, and then her dad is using it. But it took me forever to find these 2-inch by, I think, 10-inch sorters, because what I basically diagrammed out what I needed for all my nuts and bolts, and it was well over 220 sorters. And I think this is 248. I can't quite remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 times 6 times 12, 14 times 12. It's 144, 56, 68, 168. Really? That's it? Yeah, it's 12 times 12. Yeah, 168, not 200. My numbers are way off, but it's been years since I built this. Sorry about that. Anyway, and this has become the most useful sorter in the cave. Everything I can find in it. I only store 4 sizes of bolts: 1/4 inch, 5/16, 3/8, and 1/2 inch. And I store them from half inch long all the way to 6 inches long. 5 inches are missing. I figure if I have 4 and I have 6, I've got a 5. So that doesn't need a guide as to what's in there, because it's all pretty obvious. And for other things like paints, right? I've got a painting area, but like all the acrylics. Oh, these aren't the acrylics. Those are the metallics. The acrylics, there we go. The acrylics have gotten full lately because I added a whole bunch, but like that makes more sense for that. It's just the things that can be encompassed into the little bins. That's what has made it into the Sortimos. And they are, yeah, when I'm done with this, it'll be the most advanced my battery has ever been. So I'm not going to record all of this typing, but you get the idea. Here we go. Okay. So. $76. Okay. So now, 240. All right. Okay, so now I sort this column. Instead of sorting it by the bin number, now I select everything, all, and I go into data, sort, and instead of column B, I'm going to sort by column A, and that's alphabetical, A to Z. now I've got a list that is 240 long. Yeah. 240 rows long. And I am now going to try and print this print. And I think I've got some, wait, first save. Oop. I always have to figure out this software every time I use it because I only use it like once every 3 or 4 years for doing exactly this. All right. You don't need to watch all this. This is it. This is the list. This is the like few hours of work that makes that useful. Right now, this is about 60 inches long. It's the longest list I've made yet, 240 line items. I'm going to cut a piece of wood, and then I'm going to tack this all down to it and protect it with some of this tape, and I'll put it up, and then we'll have our list. Just so excited. Alrighty. Let's see here. All right. The official length, 52.5 inches, 53 inches. That's great. So now we're going to attach that to this. All right. There she blows. Sorry, I'm gonna get this shot a little bit better. There we go, something like that. Yeah. Ah, there it is. We all have different size shops. We have different size shops throughout our lifetimes. Inventory and knowing where all your stuff is one of the hardest parts about managing one of these brains. But this method, I can't remember where I came up with it. I can't remember if it was someone else's idea or mine. This has been done before. This is nothing new, but I find this a very efficient and fast way for me both to inventory and retrieve my stuff. If you have a different method or if you have a modification on this method, I would love to hear about it in the comments. Tools are all stored in different ways. These are sundries and expendables. That's what I wanted to know. Hey, anything on this list, did you look in a cabinet and think, I can't believe Adam doesn't know about that? Tell me in the comments. Tell me about some of the things I don't know about, kinds of strain relief or, I must admit, it feels quite intimate. It feels like quite a thing to reveal the entirety of the contents of everything here in this video. You can pause the frame and watch the whole, figure it out. And I don't know what I'm revealing, but it does feel like, I'm sharing the business end of 40 years of collecting materials and things. And there's stuff in these cabinets that goes back, almost 40 years. Spectacular. Thanks for joining me for this. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. The old list sufficed for a real reasonable portion of time, but in the last few months, I've been relying on total knowledge, and my total knowledge is only at about 90% in here. It's probably higher now, but my brain is not a constantly improving machine anymore. It's more like stabilize it where it is. Thanks, you guys, for joining me. I will see you next time. He already discovered the first mistake. This is great. I'm not even like whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, stay there. Sorry, my lab oven opened up. I already found the first mistake. This is hilarious. I was putting some connectors back in the connectors box, and I noticed one of my favorite new connector types are called. I don't need to bend down to the camera. One of my favorite new connector types are called pogo pins, and they are magnetic. Look at that. That is a 10 connector magnetic connector. FBFX has been using these for like more than a decade on their space helmets. Like there's a really cool one on the Prometheus helmet. Pogo pins is what these are called, and they make them small. They make them in all sorts of different delineations, including little 2 connectors. Yeah, this is great stuff. Pogo pins. And somehow I forgot to put pogo pins here. So here we go. Pogo pop. Okay, so it's here. Pogo pins. 45. Yeah. 45. We'll fix that later, next time we make this. Oh, we're not doing it now. Sorry, I don't mean to yell. If we did it now, we'd never finish. Now, the perfect is the enemy of the good in that case. I'm going to put one screw up there. That's how I'm going to do this. Wait, that's not the drywall screw box. This is. Here we go. 1 sec. Ladies and gentlemen, that's fabulous. Crazy. All right, here we go. Pogo pins. Back to your regularly scheduled programming.